Well, good afternoon from Austin, Texas. This is Craig Fryer with Fundify, and welcome to another Startup Spotlight. I'm joined by my co-host, Amy Thompson, who is the Director of Marketing at Fundify. Amy, welcome.
Thank you, Craig. Good to be here.
And just a quick disclaimer, we're going to be talking about a particular startup today, but nothing in this educational live stream shall be considered as an offer to sell or solicitation or an offer to buy any security to any person in any such jurisdiction to whom or in which such offer, solicitation, or sale is unlawful. So that's a disclaimer required by the regulators, and so wanted to make sure you were clear on that. So today we're going to give you a really interesting and closer look at a clean tech company that's growing in the electric vehicle space, and specifically the infrastructure space. The company is appropriately called EvStructure, and they're the only end-to-end EV charging enterprise in the entire United States. They like to say that not even Tesla offers the range of capabilities that they do. So I think you're going to really enjoy learning about them and meeting their co-founders. So from EvStructures, we're joined by a gentleman who has more than 30 years experience in electrical engineering contracting and who has led major projects for railways, airports, highways, tunnels, and even mass transit. So we're excited to be joined today by EvStructure's co-founder, Andrew D'Alfonso. Welcome.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're so welcome. So let's dive right in. Tell us a little bit about what's happening at EvStructures. And by the way, we're going to be talking about who the company is, what problems you solve, how they are different, and then the basics of their team, the total available market, we call that TAM, traction that they've had in the market, and then future plans. So to kick us off and to get us started, tell us a little bit about the company, what it does, and the problems that you aim to solve in the industry.
Yeah, our company, EvStructure, we are an end-to-end solution for the EV charging infrastructure business. We can design, implement, build, maintain, and do all facets of that. Ever since the infrastructure bill was passed, there's been a lot of buzz going around for the EV business.
That's terrific. And so tell us a little bit more about the idea and how this came about, the genesis, if you will, of EvStructure, and what drew you to the space and got you excited enough to go all in and launch the company in what some may consider a fairly complex space.
So we did see a problem in the industry that there's design firms, there's construction firms, there's firms that only sell equipment, and there's firms that only sell a network, and then there's firms that only maintain. So again, what we did was we basically took our talents and we combined those under one roof so that our clients, they have one call to make. We are a one-stop shop.
Terrific. Well, you mentioned being the only end-to-end infrastructure provider in the market. So why did you choose that route, and why that's even better with a more focused approach than other EV charging companies in the market?
The way we like to operate is through efficiencies. So if we've done projects that other people have designed, while there's nothing really wrong with it, we found that if we have our own design group, we can value engineer these projects to bring better overall value for our clients.
I can see how your approach would make this huge undertaking so much easier for customers. I've read that you have customers like Amazon and some major city government agencies. Tell us a little bit more about your customer traction.
So currently we have about $13 million of signed contracts. We've done, about 50 to 70,000 successfully installed projects throughout the states.
Looks like some major players there. So in addition to your customers, I know you've gotten some good traction with strategic partnerships. Tell us a little bit about the partnerships you formed and how they may impact your growth.
Sure. So every car manufacturer right now is devoting billions of dollars into creating EVs. So we have strategic partnerships with GM, Nissan, Fiat Chrysler to assist them in not only implementing chargers at their factories and at their dealerships, but also they're talking about now doing roadside charging.
Oh, fantastic.
So I'd like to hear a little bit more about the composition of your team, because oftentimes the team is what makes the difference, and the execution of that team to taking all the components, the key components and the partnerships and the traction you've got so far. And there's a lot of good ideas out there, and it often comes down to the execution. So tell me a little bit more about your background and about the team that you guys have built at EvStructure.
Sure. Well, my background is design engineering, utility scale. So I've not only been a contractor for over 25 years. We have a family business that has been around for over 50. So that's my background. My other co-founder, Todd, he comes from the sales uh, end of the spectrum. So basically, he handles the sales, business development, while I handle the design and implementation. Uh, some of our key executives, they come from different areas of the industry. Uh, One of them was an executive with a large rental car company. So he comes with great experience as far as in the sales and in the procedure implementation. Uh, our design team, they have, one of our engineers has probably 40 years experience in the energy field through design. Uh, our project managers have various levels of experience. Again, we like to hire people that are ambitious, that are go-getters, and they have various backgrounds, whether they've done private work or whether they've done public work. Overall, we have a well-rounded team.
Yeah, it sounds like it, and a lot of relevant experience in the space, which is back to my previous point. It can be critical execution to have that level of experience. So let's zoom out for a second here and talk a little bit about the industry, and would like to understand more about the market, its size, and projected growth in the overall space.
So recently, again, the Congress, they passed the infrastructure bill. It's $1.2 trillion, and about 7 billion, excuse me, will be devoted to EV charging, throughout the states.
So the comment about the government sponsoring this with $7.5 billion earmark, rapidly growing spaces, especially that have government subsidies like this and sponsorships and funding, often end up attracting a number of players. So can you tell us a little about your competition and how you're different and developing differentiation and competitive airspace?
So that's a great question. So our relationships with the car dealers and with the utilities, I think, gives us a distinct advantage. And this is it's more than just putting EV chargers in the ground. A lot of uh, these programs will be slated for rural areas or for highway charging. And what does that mean? That means that there needs to be power brought to that location. So this is more of an infrastructure proposition than it is really EV charging stations. So uh, I think, again, with our relationships with utilities, with our in-house design team, we are positioned to capture a significant amount of this revenue.
That's really interesting. In addition to the upcoming projects funded as part of the infrastructure bill, what does the future look like for EvStructure? If all goes as planned for the foreseeable future, what does EvStructure look like in, say, 5 years?
So that's also a great question. So again, this industry is just in its infancy. So in technology is changing every day. Um, that being said, we look to be a major player in this space, and helping it grow, helping our industry grow.
That's fantastic. And as personally, I've rented my first vehicle. It was a Mustang. It was so cool, Mach 10E. And I experienced what has been explained to me as distance anxiety, or, and having the additional infrastructure to be able to count on is, I think, key to being able to continue the expanse and the adoption of that marketplace that's so rapidly growing. So we really appreciate you joining us today, Andrew. Amy and I learned a great deal about what you're doing, and we are anxious to see what the future holds for EvStructure as you build up more infrastructure across the country. So thank you for joining us today.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You bet. And if you want to learn more about EvStructure, check out their funding campaign on Fundify. You can go to Fundify's Explore Marketplace and look at their offering, and you can find out a lot more information about the company here, as well as information about their team. And you can post questions to the discussion board and hear directly from Andrew and the other team members, and then watch the updates tab to find out more information about their funding campaign and company news. For your convenience, we have a QR code you can scan on your phone. It'll take you right to that page. So once again, I'd like to remind you that nothing in this live stream shall be considered an offer to sell or solicitation of an offer to buy any security to any person in any jurisdiction to whom or in which such offer, solicitation, or sale is unlawful. So thank you again from Austin, Texas. We appreciate you joining us for another Startup Spotlight. Please visit our events page to look at all of our Startup Spotlights on demand and to be updated and to sign up to be notified for future events. Thanks again. Goodbye.